actually, I saw it. My mother actually saw it first when I was looking for jobs at the time, and I like working outdoors. I really don't like working indoors. And I saw this, and I was like, I'd love to work at a place like this because I've already been here before several times. So I was like, why not?
Why not? That could also be an answer to why some people kayak. But for others, the draw of a kayak to a body of water runs much deeper than that. For me personally, I fell in love with kayaking about 1.5 years ago during a night paddle. About halfway through our excursion, the guides had us lift our paddles from the water and rest them on the deck, or top part, of our kayaks. We drifted silently for a few moments, and I took a deep breath, thankful for a brief reprieve from paddling for so long. As I exhaled into the darkness, I heard the nighttime sounds of nature surround me. Crickets singing their hearts out, a lone beaver slapping the water with its tail, and the unmistakable sound of the river lapping against the riverbank on both sides. Looking up, the sky was clear and filled with 1,000,000 stars. It was magical, and I was instantly in love. I wanted to explore what drew other people to their kayaks.
Just being out on the water. It's relaxing and fun.
Over the years, I've done more or less a little bit of kayak fishing, more leisurely kayaking on smaller bodies of water, mainly Jordan Lake, Harris Lake, some smaller bodies of water, also farm ponds.
Well, I started out going to Camp Luther in Wisconsin, and I learned how to canoe and how to sail, and I got really addicted to those. And as I got older, I learned a lot more about how to be a canoe guide. I got training from the American Canoe Association, and they also offered training on how to do sea kayaking, so I gave it a whirl, and that's how I ended up sea kayaking as well. I like being outdoors and being on the water. I just feel wonderful being around all the different birds and animals that you can see.
I guess paddling partner, kind of a friend, reliable. That's the thing with this thing, is it's heavy duty. You can take this thing pretty much anywhere. And if you hit a rock, it doesn't matter.
Bruce said, let's get kayaks and go kayaking. You had to. She had a little set on top and a great big touring kayak, was it? Ooh. Difficult to handle. So couldn't track straight with it, so we saw a sale at REI last year, bought two and just loved them.
Nice, okay.
And I like to fish, and it's a great platform for fishing.
Lake Rogers is a small lake in Creedmoor, and it's beautiful to paddle around it. There's a nice park and a playground, but there's 2 creeks that feed it, and that's where it gets interesting for me. Going off-road kayaking, and it's so easy to get over beaver dams without destroying, and you go to places where other people don't go. Most people turn around when they see an obstacle, and some of the most beautiful places in North Carolina I've seen are the ones after people turn around, and I'm okay with that, because I have some rules where I tell people, like, you can only tell one other person per year about this place, because I don't want it to turn into a tourist spot.
Before the passionate kayakers of today held tight to the sacred locations of their most treasured and revered kayaking spots, some waterways were once well known and often traversed by kayakers who lived far up north. Kayaks have actually been around for thousands of years. They were first developed by the Inuits living in Greenland, Alaska, northeastern Russia, and upper Canada. Kayak means hunter's boat, and early kayak designs varied according to regional need. People living near the Bering Strait made shorter, wider kayaks to accommodate the transportation and trade of game and supplies. Their design made them easy to right if capsized, and were often large enough to transport family members. A more streamlined kayak was needed for open ocean hunting, so Aleuts built slimmer, longer kayaks. The fiberglass and plastic kayaks we often see today were developed in the 1950s and 1980s. There's several modern-day kayak designs.
It's more or less just going to be different applications. Most leisurely kayaks are going to be sit-in. They're going to track a little better in the water. They're going to be a little easier to maneuver into the tighter nooks and crannies. Generally, your bigger kayaks are for bigger water. Bigger sit-on tops. Tandem kayaks, which is a two-person kayak, are going to be more or less for the navigation of bigger water and going a little faster. There's a lot of science to it, but more or less sit-ins are going to be better for the average person. I prefer sit on top. I like to get that cooling, that convective cooling, the motion of air, especially on a hot day like today. Sitting in that boat, you don't get a lot of, or sit in kayaks, you don't get a lot of airflow around your legs, so it's like you're cooking in it. So I like to sit on top. You got that motion of air, you're a little higher up, situational awareness is a little better, and you get that, that cool breeze.
Will pointed out that there's two basic types of kayaks, the sit on top and sit inside. There's actually several types of sit inside kayaks: the touring or sea kayak, the canoe kayak hybrid, and kayaks made for whitewater kayaking. Regardless of the type of kayak you might find yourself interested in, there's going to be some important safety gear you'll need to consider.
Well, being a new paddler, it was a real narrow kayak, so I think it was more tippy. Yeah, it should have been something a little wider.
Okay.
I would do quite a bit of research before I bought my first boat. See what folks are saying, get on forums.
And then a good life vest.
PFD. You always have to have a PFD with you. You never know when a storm's going to blow up. And I went to Cape Lookout National Seashore, and it was a gorgeous day. Paddled out there. On the way back, 25-mile-an-hour winds blew in. There was waves washing over the sea kayak. So the next one would be a good paddle that fits you well and is light.
Well, kayaking can be dangerous. Make sure you got good, strong swimming skills. Make sure you have somebody go with you. A lot of times people drown because they're ill prepared. They're not sure what to do in situations when emergencies can arise, storms can come up. You don't want to be on the water in a storm. Always have a partner, have a boat whistle. Cell phones can be ineffective.
As I met kayakers and asked them to talk about their kayak passion, I learned that kayaking can be enjoyed in so many different ways, whether it's as a beginner renting a kayak, making buddies at a kayak meetup, challenging yourself with whitewater kayaking, or even building your own. There's an option for everyone, and it seems the magic I felt a year and a half ago is contagious.
My